everybody, what is up? This is Wrecktify, and I am pleased to bring you Semifinal 1 of Season 24 of the FML Masters League, and we're going to be watching 4 players today that have played at the top of their game for the past 2.5 months over the course of this season. It's going to be a little bit of a strange match, and we're going to be playing it on the map Murgle Oasis. Map was picked by the player with the highest score for the season, and that player is actually not to be found today. So we're going to go around the map and take a look at where everybody spawned right off the bat. And starting here, we're going to take a look at Tleilaxu. And what's so interesting about this is that Tleilaxu was actually not the player that was supposed to be in this match. Tleilaxu is actually substituting in this game because Zs, who is the one who actually picked the map, did not show up for the match. So he was substituted in for Zs, and we're going to wish him luck. If he wins, he is eligible for the finals, so best of luck to him. He had 2 wins over the course of the season, 76 points. Taking a look at our bottom right, we have D2Struction 8. Well, okay, this is clearly one of those names that was created back in the 1990s. We know him, though, as NoMercy. He's a Peruvian undead player. 3 wins over the course of the season. And I believe he came in at about 78 points. If you're wondering why he had such a low points total despite having 3 wins, he didn't show up for his last match, and all of his wins that he did have, he had the lowest score for. Generally speaking, NoMercy is a lower tier player in terms of his micro, but in terms of his macro and diplomacy skills, he's been spot on. So this will be an interesting map for him, a little bit of a tighter macro game, but with the players' play styles, which we'll cover in just a moment, he may be at the advantage here. Taking a look at our top right, we have Qwest. Of course, Qwest is a very well-known player. Qwest is primarily a macro-intensive undead player, sometimes bordering on passive, and I think that's his main weakness. He does control 80 food undead armies exceptionally well, and has moments where his ability to control 100 food armies borders on Magadansky levels of skill. So he's definitely a high skill cap player. Definitely a tricky map for him, though, in terms of not being able to really exploit a very good gold game on here either. And then last but not least, my personal favorite, SuperCumulo. You're going to hear me call him Soups all game long, and if you're wondering where his stuff is, he is getting things started right away with a fast expansion here in the top left. SuperCumulo, of course, he is a one-time Free-For-All Masters League champion, having won, I believe, Season 21. I don't have my notes in front of me, though, so you're going to have to forgive me. I can't quite remember off the top of my head. It looks like he's going to be going for a fast expansion here. He's generally speaking both a very macro-intensive player and early on a very aggressive player. Where he runs into problems, though, is that he sometimes becomes a little passive in the later part of the game. Sometimes when you're needing him to become a little bit more decisive, he decides to just kind of sit back a little bit. So what I'm interested to see is, with the size of the map, is he going to be able to even fall back onto that passive route, or is he going to decide to play a little bit more aggressively, or rather be forced to play a little bit more aggressively? Map, of course, is Murgle Oasis, and as you can see, it is an 8-person map, so each player conceivably has a different spawn point they can exploit for their gold mine. Now, where you run into problems is if players end up fighting over the same gold mine when they don't really need to. For example, if NoMercy here was to try to expand to his right, he would end up going right into Qwest, and Qwest would be denied an easy expansion himself. But it looks like everybody's going to go in the right direction. We've got NoMercy going to his south. I'm sorry, to his left, Qwest going to his south, and Tleilaxu going to his south as well. Of course, Tleilaxu could have accidentally gone directly into the expansion of SuperCumulo, and that also would have caused all sorts of early game headaches for all of the players involved. Taking a look at Tleilaxu's main base, looks like he's picking up a tier 2. Let's see how that fares to everybody else. Bit of a late start on the tech for NoMercy, and it looks like Qwest and Tleilaxu are locked. Well, Tleilaxu has about a 5 to 10 second advantage. Probably not the biggest difference in the world there, though. So one of the other interesting things about this map is the item drops. There aren't that many big item drops on this map, but when they do drop, they are pretty influential on how the game is going to play out. So Laxu is about to finish off one of these level 6 Murgle Marauders, which guard the spawn point expansions, and they drop, generally speaking, aura items, so they can drop some other items as well. Pretty poor roll for Laxu there. Picks up a crystal ball, which is of course not the best item you want to get when you're going for a expansion. And we see here another suboptimal drop for NoMercy, picking up the Cloak of, I was going to say Immolation, Cloak of Flames, there you go. Up here we've got another crystal ball for Qwest, and I believe I saw that SuperCumulo picked up a Claws of Attack plus 12 on his Archmage. Looks like SuperCumulo also picked up Boots of Speed on his hero as well, so that'll give him some early micro capability. We see an early Blacksmith being picked up for SuperCumulo. I actually don't watch too many games of his, so I'm not sure if this is particularly early for him and indicative of something involving Rifleman, or if he's just going to begin a very early work through the human tech tree. Of course, most games that I comment with human, I do feel obliged to point out that the human tech tree is the most complicated in the game, with you basically needing to do all 4 upgrades to level 3 in the Blacksmith, plus between 1 and 4 upgrades in the Workshop, depending on how Workshop intensive you intend to have an army. And then, of course, you have all of the upgrades in the Arcane Sanctum. So about 20 upgrades in total. And I don't think that many of them are really optional. I feel like you really do need to pick most of them up as a human player, so it's particularly tough. We see level 4 Archmage picked up by SuperCumulo. How is everyone else's hero going? Level 3 Death Knight for Qwest. Looks like level 3 for NoMercy, and somewhere, oh, here we go. Second hero picked up by SuperCumulo, and he picks up a Naga Sea Witch. So something about SuperCumulo, again, I don't watch many of his games, but I do know that he's somewhat known for going kind of wacky secondary heroes. I know that the Beastmaster and the Firelord are among his favorites, and here we see him picking up the Naga Sea Witch. Naga Sea Witch, of all the maps, this might be one of the better ones to pick up Naga Sea Witch, with the Mana Fountain in the middle, which I think we're going to see a lot of being used later on in this game. She will never be wanting for mana. Between her Frost Arrows, which add some good nuking capability, and the Fork Lightning, which we just saw in action, which deals 250 damage at level 3 to 3 targets, she can actually put out a pretty decent amount of damage. And if it did get to the point that she was levels 8, 9, and 10, of course, with her Mana Shield and being able to replenish it in the middle as well, that could be very powerful in the right player's hands. Here we see Tleilaxu going for an early creeping of one of the Ancient Hydras in the middle, and falling victim here to the Ancient Hydra. This is, of course, what happens when you pull all of your creeps into, all of your units into range of a stomping creep. If you have 3 or more units within melee range of the Ancient Hydra, you begin starting down a level 1 War Stomp, so about 2 seconds of stun and about 75 damage, which is not that much for any individual one, but as you can see here, he's got 600 mana, so he can throw down a lot of War Stomps, and his little buddies there are throwing Fairy Fire onto all of his onto all of your units at the same time. So I think Laxu may have bit off a little bit more than he can chew there. He's probably going to want to hold his horses, wait for a Orb of Corruption to speed up the focus fire capabilities of his units. And we see him picking up a Gargoyle as well, so he's going to be going an early mixed army. Meanwhile, this is how you do it. So we've got the right number of units in range for this Ancient Hydra, although he is making some pretty good work of Qwest's units right now as well. We can see Qwest, one of his fiends, is currently in the belly of the Ancient Hydra here, and that is not looking too good for Qwest. But maybe he'll be okay. He is getting pretty low here, though, and looks like he's going to lose another one of his fiends. Finally does manage to nuke the... oh my goodness, and he's got to be careful here. I think he's having a little bit of trouble picking up the item there, because one of the strange parts about the map here is that these Hydra's heads kind of usually loom over the item that you're trying to pick up, so it's very easy to not be able to pick up your item immediately. Up here in the top left, we've got the Ancient Hydra round 2 between Laxu and, well, Mr. Hydra here. And as we can see, it doesn't look like Laxu learned much from his first time around, still bringing many, many units into range here for that Ancient Hydra to stomp the bejesus out of and stomp it. Oh boy, is he ever doing that. He could actually pull a couple of these guys back and be okay, but I think he's just, he's so hardcore, he wants to be battling in melee with those guys. Picks up the Hood of Cunning, 4 agility, 4 intelligence. It's not a good item, but it's not a terrible item. And we see him bringing his Acolyte into range here, and is he planning on going for an early secondary expansion? That's the big question. It looks like he is, and what's interesting about this map is, based on how we've seen other games play out, I'm curious to see whether or not players are going to allow him to get that up and running. The other couple of games that we've seen on this map so far, generally speaking, the players have been very aggressive about secondary expansions. I know from my own personal experience, after everybody got one expansion on the side, nobody seemed to want to allow for a second expansion in the middle. We have Tleilaxu and Qwest calling out peace to one another. We're going to see NoMercy kind of hang back here. He is, at his core, a very passive player, so I would be surprised to see him make any sort of push against Tleilaxu, who is, of course, going for a... Oh, and this is interesting. He's actually going to go a bit of a cross-map move. Rather than getting Tleilaxu, he's going to go after Qwest's Dreadlord, and down does go the Dreadlord. Who's going to get the experience, though? Looks like it may have been Qwest. I believe it was Qwest, and Qwest does pick up the item as well. So a little bit of a creep jack there by NoMercy, and he does pick off a Dreadlord, and I believe he gets one statue as a result of that as well. Qwest does get the experience from the big creep, though, and is able to get the item and get out of there, for the most part, unharmed. Of course, he would have liked to have his hero alive for the big creep, so Zenadar here would have been able to get to level 2, but you know what, I think he's probably okay with the way things shook out. He does still have, looks like, one of these Revenant creeps still here. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the creep blob map thing, and he's got a decent number of creeps actually still around his main base, so depending on how he goes for this, he could actually, if he just uses the Frostworm that's currently in the hopper for him, he could probably creep these 3.5 creep camps and get his Dreadlord to level 3. I don't think he's going to do that, though. I think he's probably going to split the experience between all of his heroes and end up maybe with a level 2 Dreadlord, which I think is fine. But part of me wonders if maybe having the level 3, or rather level 2 sleep would be more beneficial to him. And we see Qwest here also picking up a couple of additional crypts, and Qwest is, of course, very famous for building very sprawling bases. Looks like Qwest is going to pull his hero back and go for a solo creeping with just the Dreadlord. Well, he crept just the major unit there, though. He was able to get all of the experience onto his Dreadlord, which got him to level 2, as we can see. So he's going to pull back again one more time, and if he does go for these other creep camps without his other heroes present, he will get to level 3. So very interesting, very smart by Qwest to exploit what few creeps remain on the map.
A player's forces are under attack.
Alright, we see Qwest clearing out the rest of these creep camps, and as I mentioned, and I'm pleasantly surprised to see he's exploiting them very smartly, going to get to level 3 with his Dreadlord as a result. I'm guessing, and yep, based on the little icons here for auras, he is not going for Vampiric Aura. Somewhat interesting. I mean, I don't think Vampiric Aura is a particularly good skill to train, but it wouldn't be necessarily bad in the matchup that we've got here either. Very interesting to see here. We've got Tleilaxu going for not one but 2 expansions in the middle at this point. We also have Qwest. What it looks like he's going to end up denying NoMercy an expansion here. So NoMercy is going to make his way over to the left-hand side and see that Tleilaxu is going for
A player's forces are under attack.
his secondary expansion, and I'm curious whether he's going to call it out or not, or be a little bit more passive in doing that. Interestingly, we do see that NoMercy here is up to 80 food, the only player I believe that has gone into upkeep. Yep, 50 food for Qwest, 50 food for SuperCumulo, and 45 food for Tleilaxu. Tleilaxu, we can see here, very talented macro player. Of course, he's already gotten a bit of gold out of the middle gold mines here. The middle gold mines, by the way, are very... we want to take a special notice of them. They have 16,500 gold in them, and that's significantly more than your average gold mine on free-for-all maps. It is, generally speaking, free-for-all maps are around the 12 to 15k mark, so 16.5 is very significant. And we see, looks like we're going to have a cancellation of this expansion by NoMercy. NoMercy opting to, instead of fighting Tleilaxu, he's instead going to go after Qwest. And we see here Qwest pumping out an army rather rapidly, but it is not going to be ready nearly in time to make a difference here. So we're going to see some kiting action, I believe, by Qwest, which, by the way, Qwest is most comfortable with. Let's take a look at the scrolls on the map, because that's going to be one of the determining factors in terms of how this fight goes. So we do see scrolls on the Lich and Dreadlord for Qwest, and for NoMercy we see Scroll of Healing on the Dreadlord, and it looks like that's it. So 1 scroll to 2. Qwest now up to 80 food, so any advantage NoMercy previously had is now gone by the wayside. It is worth noting, though, that 21 of that 75 food is locked up in Frostworms, though, so not the most efficient army that we see here. But if they end up taking a good chunk of damage from the gargoyles, they may end up proving very useful. Looks like we're seeing a little bit of touch and go here by NoMercy, but looks like he's going to just decide to back off at this point. Meanwhile, we've got SuperCumulo making quick work of Tleilaxu's first expansion here, and Tleilaxu asking for help as well. So this is kind of... I'm not very surprised by how this game is going at this point. Qwest and SuperCumulo are about, I'd say, 1 or 2 steps in front of NoMercy and Tleilaxu in terms of their fighting capacity. So both Qwest and Tleilaxu both begging and pleading for help, despite having not actually fought as of yet. And that's actually not that uncommon in this game style. So here we go. We've got a battle here brewing between SuperCumulo and Tleilaxu. Tleilaxu able to quickly nuke the level 1 Paladin of SuperCumulo. And then he's going to send all of his gargoyles into stone form. Unfortunately, these gargoyles will never really make too big of a difference in this game. The main reason for going gargoyles as undead is not because you're trying to fight necessarily any of your opponent's human opponent's air. It's just that they're much more mobile than your Crypt Fiends, which often run into problems with pathing. And and we've got a serious nuke coming down on Chondrus Rex here, but he's able to just get away in the nick of time. So we're going to see a forced DP there on SuperCumulo. SuperCumulo sitting at 80 food still, 5,800 gold to the 65 food, 5,300 gold for Tleilaxu. And I believe his Paladin should be back up and running, and he is. So taking a look at our other players on the map, we've got NoMercy being made quick work of by Qwest. Of course, Qwest is very confident in the undead versus undead mirror. We see a couple of fiends being taken out by NoMercy, and I'm actually surprised that he's doing that, given how much of Qwest's army is taken up by all of these frostworms. The balance to to having just even one fiend in your army of gargoyles is it makes it significantly more difficult for someone to hit and run on your base or even on your army if you're constantly having forces webbed. And if you're able to web a frostworm, sometimes players will engage in very bad battles just so that they can try to save their frostworm, and then ultimately that can end up costing them the game. So at this point, it looks like there might be a little bit of lull in the action. 4-3-3 for Qwest. Let's take a look. Somewhere in here. 4-3-2 for NoMercy. So very even hero levels, but somewhat... and it looks like he's going for the fight here, which is kind of a surprise to me. Qwest does have a far inferior army here, given how many frostworms he does have in his army. Meanwhile, SuperCumulo looks like he's pumped the brakes a little bit. He's got his 6 Spellbreakers, his 6 tanks, and his heroes, and he's got his expansion up and running. But at this point, he looks like he's going to sit back and watch, but not really do anything. So we've got now NoMercy deciding to cross map and go for Laxu's middle expansion. And this is almost certainly going to annoy Laxu, but I believe the purpose of this is that NoMercy is going to allow this expansion to remain. So at this point, it's a very even match in terms of course, gold. We've got 3 gold mines for each player. Hero levels, 4-3-3 for everybody, except for SuperCumulo, where he's 4-4-1. Would like to see him maybe pick up a Periapt of Vitality, throw it on the Paladin, or maybe just a Invulnerability Potion to get him some additional survivability. Also worth noting, the Archmage is only 4.5, so he's still a ways away from having mass teleportation as a game changer. Of course, the main problem, though, is that the mass teleportation will never really be that influential in this game, and the reason for that is that by the time he reaches mass teleportation, probably 1 or 2 of the players will have already left the game at that point, and he unfortunately, since he's letting everybody mine out these middle gold mines, it doesn't look like there's much going on in terms of the ability to capture other gold mines and engage in a macro-intensive battle. So this will likely, this kind of ebb and flow of the game is likely to be what we're going to see for the majority of the game, with the exception of Qwest picking off the occasional priest there. Alright, let's take a look at everybody's main base, see what they're working with on the home front. Pretty, it's almost a solo style main base for SuperCumulo. Only has the 3 towers, so not too much going on. Frontward facing Altar of Kings, not a big fan of that. Would like to see the Altar of Kings maybe where the blacksmith is, actually. Taking a look at Laxu's main base. He's only got the 1 main base in this Black Citadel. So, we've got a bit of a fight here between NoMercy and Laxu, and it looks like it is going all Laxu. We mentioned it a little bit earlier. Laxu is not a particularly NoMercy is not a particularly strong player. So in terms of having to engage in battles with his opponents, he's going to be behind the 8 ball versus virtually everybody. Here we've got, looks like Qwest coming in versus we've got SuperCumulo coming in against Qwest. Now, interestingly, just having the couple of extra frostworms is very important for Qwest here, and we can see they're able to handle the withering attack of the siege engines a lot longer than the mass gargoyles. So mass gargoyles are just being put directly into stone form so they don't end up feeding, and we see the focus fire from the frostworms and the orb of corruption making quick work of the level 4 Naga Sea Witch, who's going to take a little bit of time to get back into action. So it looks like SuperCumulo maybe had intended on taking out this expansion, but instead he's losing his own expansion. Hold the horses. No, looks like we're going to have peace between SuperCumulo and Qwest, and Instead, we're going to have maybe Qwest intervene here. Nope, doesn't look like it. So this is going to become a somewhat interesting game in terms of who's going to get how much gold from the odd man out gold mine here. I don't believe at this point NoMercy is going to be able to secure that gold mine. He's starting to fall behind on hero levels, and his ability to fight in the mirror match looks somewhat dubious at best in terms of being able to keep up with Tleilaxu or Qwest. So I suspect we may see him try to expand there one more time once he gets his heroes back and gets back up to 80 food. But I believe that'll probably be his last gasp. Nope, looks like we're instead going to see Tleilaxu go for that gold mine. So if NoMercy is going to get that mine, he's going to need to fight for it, and he's going to have to move fast. I don't think we're going to see Tleilaxu try to tower this gold mine, because he doesn't want to invest heavily in a very exposed base like this, but NoMercy is rapidly falling behind the gold count of his opponents. 9k for SuperCumulo, 7k for Tleilaxu, and we'll have to wait just a moment to see what we had. Oh my goodness. We've got a couple of players lagging at this point, and hopefully nobody drops. Alright, we're back at it. Okay, so Qwest has 3k, and the main reason for that is that he did lose his expansion earlier on to a rush by There we go, we've got the save finally going. So he did lose his expansion early on to a rush by NoMercy. We can see, for example, that SuperCumulo has mined 6,000 gold from his mine, whereas Qwest is only at 3,000 gold from his mine. Looks like Qwest is going to abandon his main base expansion in order to stay at 80 food and be able to start working here on this middle gold mine. Part of me is okay with this, but what I'm not a big fan of is that when you do save your main base mine, as Qwest is doing with 3k left in it, that does make you a bit of a target in terms of players wanting to go after you. And whoa, holy cannoli, we've got a 100 food army here by SuperCumulo. Doesn't look like 100 food, but that's certainly what they're saying it is. So we got 3 Dragon Hawks coming in, 3, 6, 7 breakers, and then a good number of tanks as well. So I'm curious to see which direction this is going in. Here in the main base of NoMercy, we see that he is working on 80 food still, and looks like Tleilaxu is going up to 100 food himself. It looks like he's going to try to take out the expansion here of NoMercy, and if he's able to take this out, there's a chance that Tleilaxu may be able to secure this in the long run. Meanwhile, we've got NoMercy going for the expansion here of Tleilaxu in the middle. This is, of course, only one of his expansions. He's got the other one down here. Nope, hold the horses. We've got ghouls on the move. So the ghouls of Tleilaxu going to be taken out by his army now as they are making a run for it. So we've got Tleilaxu going from 3 expansions to 1 in very short order. Meanwhile, we've got SuperCumulo taking out the expansion here of Qwest. I can't imagine Qwest trying to fight this right now. That would be a very dangerous proposition for him. Wait, nope. Looks like he may have actually tried to, and doesn't look like he actually lost all that much. What, from 80 to 73? But that was 5 gargoyles that he lost, so maybe just 1. I'm sorry, 5 acolytes that he lost, so maybe just 1 gargoyle. Here we go, big battle between NoMercy and Tleilaxu, and just terrible, terrible fighting by NoMercy, opting to go in a 100 versus 80 battle. His Lich permanently put to sleep for that entire battle, and just didn't stand any chance against Tleilaxu there. So we see NoMercy lose 40 food and Laxu lose about 16 food, we'll say. I don't think he was quite 100.
A player's forces are under attack.
And with that, that's probably the last gasp of hope for NoMercy. He's now, I believe, 4-3 heroes versus the nearly level 6, level 5, level 4 of Laxu. And at this point, Laxu is starting to take a little bit of a big lead on his opponents here. He's got the 2 expansions in the middle, and I believe he's going to come take out NoMercy's expansion one more time. I'm not sure if this is part of Laxu's plan, but basically what he's done is by going after NoMercy as he has, he's pitted the 2 better players in the game, Qwest and SuperCumulo, against each other. And I think that, I don't know if that was intentional or if that was just happenstance, but either way, it's working out very well for him. We're going to see him go for a couple of easy hero kills here, and this could give him a enormous experience advantage if he's able to pull it off. Down goes the Death Knight. Death Knight was the highest level hero, so that's going to give some pretty good experience to Laxu here. Meanwhile, we've got SuperCumulo going after the expansion of Laxu, and we've got Laxu crying for help, which I believe is going to be a bit of a common refrain this game. This is a pretty... what makes Laxu kind of an interesting player is he's got very good macro. He can win fights, but he cries probably more than any player to ever play in the history of free-for-all. And I don't mean to engage in too much hyperbole here, but it's rather stunning how much a player can claim being dead when they have not even been attacked by a player. But that's kind of his go-to move. We see NoMercy about to lose his heroes. Looks like he's going to TP over to his expansion, though, try to save himself. But this game is all but over for NoMercy. NoMercy's mostly won this season by hiding behind better players, and unfortunately for him, he's got no one to hide behind today. So I suspect we're going to see him lose his heroes and then maybe either unsummon or quit the game. He's definitely out of his league at this point. And we see here, meanwhile, we've got Qwest and SuperCumulo going to battle, and both of them nuking each other's expansions. I'm not really a big fan of this. They're fighting each other without any regard for the other player on the map, who of course has 2 expansions up and running, and is clearly getting to fight the inferior player here in NoMercy. So I would have liked to see Laxu. I would have liked to see Qwest and SuperCumulo engage in a little bit more diplomacy here.
Town is under siege.
Pretty interesting. We have a peasant was picked off by Qwest here, and he of course doesn't have the gold to really go for a full human tech, but it's usually enough to scare a player just knowing that they do have it. Down goes the Lich of NoMercy, and now we'll see the level 3 Dreadlord go down as well, and that is pretty much it. GG for NoMercy. NoMercy asking to be finished. Of course, he can just unsummon his base if he wants to. Meanwhile, we do have SuperCumulo saying Laxu is going to win the game, and it is looking increasingly like that. And Laxu, of course, the sub in the game, but he is playing like he deserves to be here. And to a certain extent, I do believe that he does. He is he did win 2 games this season. It was very close in terms of his not making the cutoff for the finals. So we see here a dive by Laxu, though. Bit of a mistake. He's going for that panda. I'm sorry, he's going for the paladin. He's going a little too hard, in my opinion. Focus Fire comes down on the Sea Witch. Sea Witch is nuked out of existence. Holy cow! And down goes a very large number of gargoyles, but they will eventually go into stone form. We've got a bit of a self-surround here on the Dreadlord. Looks like the Dreadlord does get away just in the nick of time. And in, like, oh my goodness, in from nowhere comes Qwest, able to pick off I believe it was the Paladin. Paladin only level 2 though, so not that big of a deal. But still a bit difficult, I'd say, for SuperCumulo, who now doesn't have an expansion. He does have 650 gold left in his main base, and I think about 1,000 left over here, 1,400 in his only expansion. He does have 7,400 gold, though, so he's doing okay in terms of the gold count. The army composition that SuperCumulo has gone for is a very cheap-to-build army, very difficult to build army. I'm sorry, difficult to kill army.
A player's forces are under attack.
And strangely, we see Qwest picking up. We see him picking up the Human Town Hall at this point, and I'm very confused as to why he's going this route. There is some merit to picking up a human peasant and maybe going for some level 1 guard towers and arcane towers, but I don't think, especially on a map with this little gold, it's really worthwhile for you to try to go for a full tech, and that's generally speaking what you're trying to do when you go for a main base like that. So right now, Laxu and Qwest both have one active gold mine in the middle. Laxu, as we did predict, is also picking up the former expansion of NoMercy. NoMercy, meanwhile, is rebuilding his Death Knight. I don't know if this is some sort of bizarre effort to continue to feed, as he's been basically doing all game long. But he does have an Acolyte, and he does have the gold to build more Acolytes, should he decide to summon. And here we go, we've got his Death Knight is back alive, and we're going to see him continuing to feed. This is a bit of a shameful sign for a player in the playoffs like this. So I believe with this skill, we're gonna get a level 6 Lich for sure. Not gonna quite get there with level 6 Dreadlord, but getting very close. Down goes the Dreadlord. I'm sorry, the Death Knight, and where does that put us? About 2/3 of the way there for level 6 Dreadlord. So Laxu in a commanding lead for experience. So right now, some of the things of note, Laxu is the only one who drained his main base. There is a main base still for SuperCumulo, but he does only have 650 gold in there. Laxu picking up the former expansion of NoMercy, 1850 gold in there. And right now, Qwest has one expansion, but only, well, really no expansions for SuperCumulo, up to 11,725 lumber. So very aggressive in terms of picking up lumber for SuperCumulo, but not so much in terms of picking up a new middle expansion. Of course, SuperCumulo did get a pretty early expansion in the middle, and the 9,030 gold in the middle shows that he has already made it halfway through that gold mine. Qwest, meanwhile, is picking up the pace in terms of catching up, though. Holy cow, we've got a battle erupting between Laxu and Qwest here, and okay, for a second it looked like we might have a Dreadlord down, but it doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Instead, Laxu looks like he's going to take out Qwest's middle expansion, and SuperCumulo is going to counter in kind, taking out the expansion here of Laxu. So Laxu will be down to just the one gold mine on the left-hand side. He does have 6,000 gold, though, so he's doing okay in terms of the gold count game, but really it's his hero levels that are starting to shine. Wow, amazing job, just getting off a very nice position there to be able to nuke the... oh boy, and down goes the Archmage. Big mistake by SuperCumulo. We do see a couple of gargoyles being taken down by these tanks, and wow, lots and lots of gargoyles going down to the tanks. Big mistake there by Laxu. Meanwhile, doesn't look like Laxu has a town portal scroll, so he's going to be forced to do a slow run for his Sea Witch. His Sea Witch down to only 350 HP, but looks like she will be able to get away based on the Boots of Speed she had previously picked up. So once again, we see the Paladin nuked almost immediately by the Undeads. So I think that if SuperCumulo wants to be able to survive, he's definitely going to need to pick up some more survival items for his Paladin. Paladin is always invariably going to be the first target of your opponents, and right now, with I believe 725 HP, the Paladin just does not have enough HP to survive. Qwest down to 600 gold rather, not looking too good for him. He's also way behind in terms of hero levels vis-a-vis Tleilaxu, so he's got to be careful here in terms of who he picks a fight with. He does have the tier 2 building for human, but I don't really know what he's going for here. Maybe he's trying to get to tier 3 so he can pick up the a staff for his heroes, but his heroes aren't even close to the level that you need for considerable hero arena engagements, and at this point I can only begin to guess what its purpose is. So Tleilaxu currently sitting at 61 food, 4,000 gold. We've got SuperCumulo at 66 food, 7,000 gold, and of course Qwest, we just outlined his gold woes here, down to 350 gold. He does have the 1850 gold in his main base gold mine though, so depending on how things go here in the middle, he may be able to get back into this, but he's going to need to be left alone for at least a little bit of time with those middle gold mines. So here we're seeing the disastrous effect of going up against the level 3 AoE effects of Undead. We've got just a considerable amount of damage that can be done in very short order. We see spamming of sleep effect on the Lich. Lich is just able to unleash complete havoc against the against gargoyles because Frost Nova, of course, is an uncapped AoE effect. It'll do its full damage to as many units in its range, and gargoyles, as we can see, do have a tendency to get a bit clumped up. So we have Focus Fire now on both players' Liches. Not able to save the Lich for Qwest though, so things are not looking too good for him here. He's down to 600 gold, down to 70 food, and he's going to be forced to TP, or else he's going to risk losing even more of his army. He loses his Frostworm once again, and we have an Errant Gargoyle here as well. Not sure what his strategy is right now, but it is not looking too effective. Tleilaxu asking for help. I'm not sure who he's even asking for help from. So this is kind of the odd man out situation. Someone has to end up with 2 mines, or else you're gonna just end up with an empty gold mine, which can conceivably happen. But generally speaking, in these games, that is not the route that ends up going. You always end up have the one player that decides he's going to be the king of the hill and go for the two middle expansions. And we can see here right now that SuperCumulo, he's only got 4 tanks for anti-air though. So that might not be enough if Tleilaxu picks up even 1. And here we go. It's not even going to be enough. It doesn't look like Tleilaxu's even going to need the any help from Frostworms or anything like that. He can literally just, based on this Fountain of Mana here, continuously run in and nuke the Paladin of SuperCumulo. Oh, and there we go. I didn't see it happen, but it looks like we do have a level 6 Inferno coming out, and that's going to be very bad for SuperCumulo. The Inferno, of course, does a lot of damage, and whoa, that was very close for for Tleilaxu there. Almost ended up losing his Death Knight, but was able to get him out just in the nick of time. Laxu's definitely going to need to pick up a statue in order to get the healing going on his Death Knight. And I think we're going to see a bit of a shift in focus from the undeads facing each other to the undeads trying to contain their human opponent here, who is starting to get to a very significant gold lead. You see 9,000 gold for SuperCumulo versus 2,700 for Laxu, 500 for Qwest.
Are under attack.
Qwest does have 80 food once again, and he does have some pretty impeccable army controlling skills. That being said, though, he's going to need to be careful here. I don't think he has the capacity to fight this army of SuperCumulo right now. Even though this is actually only a 70 food army, it does look and feel like it's a lot stronger than any other 70 food army you're going to see out there, though. Alright, so 5,000 gold left in SuperCumulo's first gold mine, and 12,000 left in the gold mine he's taken from Laxu. So things are getting a little bit out of hand now in terms of gold counts. We've got SuperCumulo about to pass the 10k gold mark, 600 gold for Qwest, and 1,300 gold for Laxu. So Laxu is getting down to a very danger low amount. We're going to need to see some sort of concerted 2-on-1 effort here, maybe even in the main base of SuperCumulo, if these players want any hope of being able to win this game.
Attack. A town is under siege.
One option would be one player going for the main base of SuperCumulo, probably Laxu. Laxu could actually drop a Death and Decay right here and take out a good chunk of SuperCumulo's base. SuperCumulo, of course, he doesn't even have any stun effects in his army. So by doing that, he would draw... Laxu would be able to draw SuperCumulo away from the middle here. And that would give Qwest free access to taking out the...
A town is under siege.
And we've got Qwest asking where Laxu's army is. Of course, Laxu, we can see, doesn't have any gold. But I think these players incorrectly believe that he does. Wow, and down goes the level 5 Naga Sea Witch once again. Very nice focus fire there by Laxu, who really isn't losing anything at this point. But I'm wondering if Qwest is going to begin to question whether Laxu has a lot of gold.
A player's forces are under attack.
So Laxu in a very unfamiliar place for himself. He's got the highest level heroes, but as a result, he's not being allowed to get an expansion. Usually for him, it's the other way around. Generally speaking, he's not the one getting into these commanding leads with hero levels. Rather, his macro that's getting him his advantage. But right now, nobody seems to want to give him any gold, and we can see how that's going to play out for him in the long run. He's down to very low gold, 1,350. I believe there's about 1,000 left down here in this bottom left gold mine, but not nearly enough to make a significant dent in the low gold count that he's currently having to deal with. And we can see Laxu doesn't have any town portal scrolls, so he's going to have to start thinking about maybe selling off buildings or selling off items. If he's going to want to be able to build a expansion. Qwest making a huge mistake here. He's at 2,000 gold. He must think that he can get back into this against SuperCumulo, but of course we have the gift of sight here. We know that SuperCumulo, every second that he's allowed to keep these two expansions, is pulling further and further ahead of Qwest. Qwest does have a little bit of a human tech here in his main base, but that's really not going to help him with anything. And meanwhile, we've got NoMercy slowly working on his main base with this single ghoul of his. This is kind of a microcosm of his season, being left alone by players to do his own thing down here. Alright, so we've got Qwest with 2 middle expansions, and we've got SuperCumulo with 2 middle expansions. Of course, we can see that SuperCumulo now up to 12,000 gold versus the 3,400 gold for Qwest. Laxu, meanwhile, does not have any active gold mines, down to 1,000 gold even. Does have a very high hero advantage over his opponents. 766 for Laxu versus the 553 for SuperCumulo. Neither player wants to give him an inch in terms of giving him any gold, though, because they fear these high undead hero levels. So Laxu just he's looking for help anywhere he can get it, and he's kind of making the deal with the devil right now by teaming up with SuperCumulo. Yes, he may be able to get a gold mine, but he's just putting SuperCumulo that much further ahead in terms of gold count. We got some of the observers calling Laxu retarded here. I don't know if that's correct, though. I mean, I don't think that Laxu really has a choice other than to try to team with somebody. Since Qwest wants to isolate him from getting any gold mines, he almost has to team up with SuperCumulo. And now we have Qwest going back to saying 2 full expansions. So this is one of those situations where you, again, as a player, you have to try to figure out how much gold everybody has. So, for example, if I am in this game, I'm actually inclined to believe that Laxu is as broke as he says he is. He did get to mine 2 expansions for a while, but he didn't get to mine either expansion past maybe the quarter waypoint. So it's not like he got a huge amount of gold out of them. He just had multiple expansions, but he didn't get a lot of gold out of them. Secondly, he's playing undead, and he's engaged in multiple gargoyle versus gargoyle battles. Now, gargoyle armies are naturally very expensive, and we can see that he's been getting scrolls this entire time, as can the players, so they should recognize that he probably doesn't have nearly as much gold as they do. On the flip side, though, if I'm thinking about how much gold someone like SuperCumulo has, I'm recognizing that he power built a expansion very early on. He's actually the only player who didn't lose his middle expansion at any point in the game, and he's about to finish one of them from start to finish, 16,500 gold. He's also playing an army that is very difficult to kill. I don't think he's lost any tanks all game except for maybe one that he sent to the bottom left, and he's maybe lost a couple of spellbreakers, but we're talking maybe losing 1,000 to 2,000 gold in terms of army. Of course, he has lost his heroes several times, but you losing your paladin 5 times before level 3 is not that costly of an endeavor. So if you figure these mined out, let's say, I don't know, 60,000 gold at this point, and he spent maybe 10,000 on base, lost about 20,000 to upkeep. That puts him at 30,000 gold, and then, you know, if you consider everything that he's got, items, having to rebuild, teching, things like that, yeah, I don't think it's actually that far-fetched to be able to put him on around 10 to 15k. And finally, a little bit of mercy here for NoMercy. Looks like Qwest is going to eliminate him from the game, finishing him off in 4th place for the season. Good season for him overall, 3 wins total, but just not the overall skill needed to be able to win in clutch battles, and that's really going to prevent him from being able to get that next level at this point. And so, poor showing by NoMercy, but there's always next season. So taking a look back at the middle, we see finally SuperCumulo has finished his first gold mine off. Curious to see, he's going to send his peasants back to his base. And at this point, you've got to think that SuperCumulo is the odds-on favorite to win this. We've got Laxu, who is finally back to where he started, 1350 gold, about 20 minutes ago. And that's after having to rebuild Acolytes, rebuild his expansion, and pick up a new Town Portal scroll.
A player's forces are under attack.
Alright, so at this point the game is nearing the point that I believe that nothing that Qwest and Laxu can do can even get them back into it. We've got 5k for Qwest and 2k for Laxu versus, of course, 16k for SuperCumulo. I mean, it would take, I don't want to say a miracle, and of course, the lack of the Mountain King, I think, is definitely going to be a factor here. The lack of having a hard stun, of course, does make it a lot easier to try to pick off units and heroes with your Coil, Carrion, and Nova. And, well, I kind of disagree with Laxu's approach right now. He's trying to say that the low-level Paladin is indicative of not much fighting. I think that a smarter route would be to show that the Archmage is only level 5, since of course the Paladin has been nuked every single fight. We got a little bit of a gargoyle scouting action going on here. Not entirely sure. SuperCumulo continuing to go for the lumber game very hard. He's at 11,800 lumber. I don't think he realizes that there's no points on the line for the semifinals here. He either makes it to the finals or he doesn't, but getting extra resource score will not help him. Well, we've got Laxu saying he's pumping, but of course we know that's not the case. I don't think that he's going to do much of anything for the time being. We finally see these peasants are going to get taken out. Looks like he's trying to get level 5 for his Lich and for his Dreadlord. Does get level 5 for his Dreadlord, but that is going to incur the wrath of SuperCumulo, who is, instead of taking nicely to it, is going to go take out the 5 Acolytes of the expansion of Qwest. Of course, Qwest is down to 90 gold in his main base. I'm sorry, in his expansion. NoX asking, when will they team SuperCumulo? And I don't believe that they will. If this gameplay is any indication, I don't think that Laxu and Qwest are going to team up at any point. I think that Laxu is pretty afraid of... I'm sorry, I think that Qwest is pretty afraid of Laxu's hero levels, and I don't think that either of them really recognize how much gold... and we can see here just very typical for how this entire game has gone. Qwest trying to pick off a unit of Laxu. Of course, Laxu having only 3,200 gold, not really able to fight at all. I think that the only hope Laxu has at this point is to somehow come to the correct conclusion Oh boy, and here we go. Again, I think that Qwest just has no clue what he's doing in this game. He's continuing to go very aggressively on Laxu, despite the fact that Laxu is not his primary opponent here. But I don't think either Laxu or Qwest has any clue how much gold SuperCumulo has. Alright, we're up to 18,000 gold for SuperCumulo, who's just continuing to mine away and not really have to deal with any aggression, unlike everybody else in this game, who had to deal with some degree of pretty intense aggression by their opponents. We see very aggressive in-base attacks by Qwest on Laxu cross-map, pretty much ignoring the fact that that SuperCumulo has got not one but two gold mines at this point. Laxu does finally finish off his expansion here in the middle. I think this is becoming rapidly and I hate to use the term because I think it's rather cliched, but a free win for SuperCumulo. SuperCumulo, of course, has got the 7 tanks and just as many, no, 8, no, I'm sorry, he's got 9 breakers, 8 tanks, 9 breakers, 7 tanks, and no casters. He had been picking up priests previously to be able to use some inner fire, but that kept getting nuked by both of the undead, so it looks like he's just given up on anything that isn't magic immune at this point. Another tank being picked up by SuperCumulo. Gonna be curious if he's going to be picking up a 100 food army or if he's going to just try to make it work with 80 food armies. And a bit of a lull in the action at this point, typical for 3-ways on maps such as this. We see Laxu picking up a bit of an army. Doesn't look like he's picking up any Frostworms, though, which is kind of interesting. Frostworms have been pretty key to Qwest's ability to harass SuperCumulo. I don't think that going a pure gargoyle army makes sense for either player at this point. But I believe that both undeads are viewing each other as their primary opponent in each other, and for some reason, for whatever reason, it seems the human player is getting away relatively scot-free this time.
A player's forces are under attack.
And we do see 99 food for Qwest picked up. Qwest, he's got some meat wagons that are fully upgraded, actually. and it looks like he's going to bring them slowly towards the army of SuperCumulo. Of course, SuperCumulo is going to have absolutely no reason to stay in the middle here. He's about to finish off this middle gold mine. The other problem is that while I believe that meat wagons are actually pretty good in terms of being defensive, I don't think of them as being particularly good on the offense like this. It'll be interesting to see whether or not this is effective here, or whether or not the meat wagons are just immediately targeted and taken out. And looks like that's what is going to be the case. We're going to have all of the meat wagons focused immediately. Wow, very poor micro by that Naga Sea Witch, once again being the focus of Coil, Carrion, Nova, and taken out despite the level 3 Paladin there, able to provide some 400 HP rejuvenation for SuperCumulo on demand. And we see once again the army chasing down the now the Lich. And interestingly, because of the stone form there, we've got the Death Knight trapped that entire time, unable to contribute anything to the battle. SuperCumulo running back to his base at this point. 19,500 gold is where he's going to end the game. So all the gold mines, with the exception of this gold mine down here, have been drained from the map. The gold mine down here, by the way, has about 1,200 gold, I want to say, left in it. It's maybe plus minus 200. So it could factor in. I'm surprised that Qwest or Laxu has not gone after it. I mean, anything, I believe, over 500 gold would be worthwhile for them, just in terms of picking up a little bit. Since they, of course, they can sell off their gold mine afterwards. And rather bizarrely, we see that SuperCumulo is not going for any type of 100 food army at this point. And this is, we talked about this a little bit before the start of the game. SuperCumulo is one of those players that typically comes out of the gate very hot, very aggressive, but is someone who can sometimes lapse into a little bit more passive gameplay as the game goes on. And we can see here he's got the most gold, more than quadruple his opponents combined. 5,000 gold for Tileilaxu and Qwest combined, 20,000 gold for SuperCumulo. But despite that huge gold advantage, he's still sitting at 71 food and still just kind of sitting in his base, letting them dictate the pace of play. Finally, though, we do see SuperCumulo deciding to move out of his base, and nope, he decided he'd go for a little bit of a walk there, but that was it. He's going to pick up a couple of Dragon Hawk Riders, and I'm really liking this. The Dragon Hawk Riders are definitely going to prevent any more hit and run by Qwest, and even if they are only somewhat effective against Qwest, that is to say, let's say they take out one gargoyle or two gargoyles, but then they get taken out all three of them, SuperCumulo can actually afford to go into battles and kind of fight the battle of attrition like that. Looks like he's going to probably opt to use these Dragon Hawk Riders for the purpose of clouding the towers of Qwest here. And here we go, Focus Fire coming down on this Naga Sea Witch. Naga Sea Witch down very low, taken out almost instantaneously by the nuking of Qwest. Very impressive there. Caught the Naga way out of position, was able to sleep the Paladin, and Coil, Carrion, Nova carried the rest of the day. So here we go, we've got very trapped tanks, and I think that if I was Qwest, I would want to press my advantage here. You've got the hero taken out once again, and this is not the point in the game that you want to be sitting back and waiting for 100 food of tanks to come to your base. You want to take the fight to them. He can take out the altar very easily. I'm very shocked by this passive level of play, both by Tleilaxu and by Qwest. It's just becoming more and more evident that they have no clue how much gold SuperCumulo has. And I think that this constant losing of the Naga Sea Witch is actually allowing SuperCumulo to convince the players that he needs help.
Forces are under attack.
And I'm starting to wonder if the Naga Sea Witch was definitely more of a manipulation move than anything else. I don't think if SuperCumulo had a level 5 Mountain King at this point, I think he would be much more likely to be teamed out of the game than his Naga. His Naga, especially because she keeps getting nuked, seems to have kind of softened the player's stance on going after him. Alright, so this passive play is going to continue. Looks like just free rebuild for SuperCumulo. Curious as to whether SuperCumulo is going to take another stab at going after Qwest, or what the plan is. Interestingly, very smartly by Qwest, he does pick up on the fact that a 4th Griffin Aviary is built by SuperCumulo here in the back of his base, and rightfully so, he's calling out the fact that, generally speaking, you only build extra buildings this late into the game if you have a serious amount of gold to be able to pump from. So Qwest down to 3,500 gold, 96 food army, 80 food army for SuperCumulo. It looks like he's probably not going to go up to 100 anytime in the near future. Able to pick up level 6 with his Sea Witch though, so we might be getting to see some tornado action this game, which is going to be exciting. And I'm kind of surprised we're even seeing the proxy bases here being allowed to stand. So close to seeing the amount of gold left in that mine. Yep, SuperCumulo is still sitting at 80 food. Doesn't look like he's quite ready to show off his gold count as of yet.
A player's forces are under attack.
So I'm actually kind of surprised that we're not seeing more harass here by Tleilaxu. He, of course, can run in and out of these fights pretty easily. The slowing effect of Frost Arrow is somewhat effective, but not nearly as effective as a real true stun. And even though there's really not that much to try to pick off, the heroes, of course, are proving pretty easy to take out for him. He may be a little worried about all of the Dragonhawk riders he's probably seeing over those tanks, as those would definitely put a cramp in his style.
Player's forces are under attack.
Alright, so we're seeing a little bit of very low-grade harass here. I'm surprised that Tleilaxu is playing as passively as he is here. He could be very easily using Inferno or Death and Decay, assuming he picked those skills up to harass SuperCumulo, but it looks like he's not interested in it. I'm guessing for whatever reason he's going to be going after Qwest. Although I say for whatever reason, but in reality, Qwest really did bring this on himself by targeting targeting Tleilaxu as much as he did. And so we've got a large number of meat wagons raining meat down on all of these tanks here. And I know this is going to be a disaster if it goes on for more than even a couple of seconds. Down goes a good chunk of gargoyles there for Qwest. 12 food almost instantly lost, 14 food now, and down goes the Frost Orb. So 21 food lost for Qwest so far already. Couple of units lost for SuperCumulo, it looks like, but again, SuperCumulo can afford to lose all of it and then some. So 13 food lost for SuperCumulo, but it really just doesn't matter. And I don't think any of the players in this game realize just how far behind they are from SuperCumulo's gold count.
A player's forces are under attack.
So SuperCumulo down to 64 food now, and Tleilaxu continuing to go after him. Go after Qwest, that is. Looks like SuperCumulo is about ready to turn around. Nope, he's in full-on retreat mode at this point.
A player's forces are under attack. A town is under siege.
Alright, we've got a continued siege here on Qwest space. I imagine where this ends is actually maybe right about now, with the most of the front half of Qwest space being taken out. At some point, the two undeads need to recognize that they can't fight each other for the entirety of this game, I would think. And maybe this is that point. We see Tleilaxu does have take out one of those Dragonhawk Riders there. And this right here, we can see exactly why SuperCumulo is so high up on the gold count. We can see so few units lost to the to such a protracted siege. A siege, by the way, where all of the base was designed to counter this exact army. Meanwhile, Qwest just holding on for dear life at this point, almost level 6 with his Lich. Looks like he's about 5.5 with the, just over 5.5, I'll say 5 2/3 with his Dreadlord, so still a bit of ways away from the Inferno that he's going to need to fight against SuperCumulo's army. Speaking of the Archmage level 6 watch, we said it early on. I don't expect to see a level 6 Archmage until maybe 2 of the players have left, and it's really looking like it's going to shake out that way. Although if he does get level 6 Archmage, it likely will have a big impact on this game. Both undeads, of course, both of their bases are very weak against mass TP. Although there isn't really such thing as an undead base that isn't weak against mass TP. I'm very shocked to see Tleilaxu engaged in such a protracted 2-on-1 against another undead. He's got to recognize that once SuperCumulo becomes level 6 with his Archmage, the game is basically out of reach for both him and Qwest. I'm wondering, and I wouldn't be surprised if Tleilaxu's plan right now is to hopefully get SuperCumulo into a bad position here, and then nuke his army from behind. And so here we go. We've got another battle. We've got the tanks are focusing down on the buildings this time around, though. They're not getting drawn in to try to fight against the army of Qwest. And Qwest's doing his best to take out those siege engines, but he's not making very good work of them. Down goes one siege engine. We do see the Frostworm able to be saved there. The tanks are doing their best to take these units out, but it's just way too much for just two meat wagons. Down goes yet another tank, though, over here on the left-hand side. And down goes the main base of Qwest. Now that's gone. SuperCumulo down to 52 food, but I believe he was only at 64 food previously. Only one tower remains for Qwest. He's got the, of course, he's got this keep in the back of his base and his town hall necropolis in the top left of his base. So pretty efficient fight there by Qwest. But that being said, again, SuperCumulo, he's got 18,000 gold, well, just short of 18,000 now. Losing a couple of breakers here and there, not the biggest impact of this game. And at this point, it's looking like Qwest and Tleilaxu have basically tunnel visioned on each other. That, or they're really falling for the manipulation of SuperCumulo. It's actually very difficult to tell at this point.
A player's forces are under attack.
And we have continued harass here by by Tleilaxu on Qwest, and he's calling it revenge. And I do believe that this is just a little bit of a vendetta between these two players. How much longer can this go on is really the question. You know, part of the problem is that Tleilaxu, of course, as he is substituting in the game, may not feel particularly invested in the game, although he is just as eligible for a finals berth as any other player should he win this match here.
A town is under siege. A player's forces are under attack.
And it looks like we've got Tleilaxu taking out the different bases of SuperCumulo. Now, something that's interesting is that if SuperCumulo does go 100 food, he is likely to get teamed by Qwest and Tleilaxu. He doesn't have any hidden peasants, and he's about to lose all of his proxy buildings. So, in essence, this very small, very dense base of SuperCumulo is the only thing that he's got. It's all he's got in terms of being able to spend this huge amount of gold that he's mined up. So part of me is thinking that Tleilaxu is smarter than the rest of us combined, and he's recognizing the fact that if he can get SuperCumulo to overcommit to attacking Qwest here, he can easily take out his heroes from behind, and then, mentioned it before, one Death and Decay right here will take out his main base, his shop, and his altar all in one shot. Bit bizarre here. Qwest is staffed his way up to one of these islands up here. He of course has no way of getting an acolyte up there though, so I'm not sure what his plan is here. Oh. He's going to drop an ivory tower up here in the corner. Well, that's one of the craziest things I've ever seen, but I guess it technically would work. I don't know what the purpose of that would be for him, though.
A town is under siege.
And down goes a tank of SuperCumulo. I'm not sure if they're really fighting right now or if this is like play fighting. SuperCumulo being accused of having 10k right now. And my gosh, you know, it's funny. Ordinarily that you'd be like, wow, he's spot on, but he's so far off, and he's not far off because he's overestimating. He's far off because he's so far under where he's actually at. SuperCumulo still sitting at 17,476 gold. Of course, he's going to probably start to rebuild piecemeal here, playing very passively as he has all game long. I think rightfully so. The passive play has actually kind of allowed him to fly under the radar, despite probably outmining his opponents by around 50%. Nice block there, by the way. We saw a pretty concerted effort there to nuke the Death Knight, but didn't quite make it. Death Knight level 7 looks like Paladin did reach level 4 during that last siege, and that is a milestone level for human. Getting the level 4 Paladin means you got level 2 Divine Shield, 30 seconds instead of 15, which means that you've got a lot more time in battle that you don't have to worry about getting nuked. And given that the only things you can nuke at that point are a 1075 HP Archmage and a 1200 HP Naga Sea Witch, it's really not looking too good, since of course all of the other units that SuperCumulo has built for this game, for the most part, have been immune to magic. Qwest finally deciding to venture outside the confines of his base. Still a bit of ways away from level 6 Dreadlord, though.
A player's forces are under attack. player's forces are under attack. A town is under siege. Player's forces are under attack. Town is under siege.
Alright, we're back and we have a bit of a 2-on-1 situation now inside of SuperCumulo's base, and SuperCumulo is not spending any of the money he's got. Any spending of his money at this point will get him basically teamed out of the game, as it will kind of prove that he does have a large amount of gold still on hand. So he's actually in a very tough situation right now. He definitely cannot afford to spend any of his gold. He is doing a fantastic job, though, fighting two armies at once, able to force back the Death Knight of Qwest and of Tleilaxu, both of them very far into the red and at risk of being nuked out of the game. Meanwhile, SuperCumulo down to 52 food. Qwest, he needs to heal his Death Knight pronto. And both of these players need to be very careful. I don't think that they're quite respecting the Naga Sea Witch, and understandably so. Not exactly the best hero, but the 250 damage from the Naga Sea Witch combined with the 300 damage from the oh boy, and we got a good focus fire coming down on the Lich here. Lich about to get taken out, not quite though. Good save there by Qwest. He's got to be careful. I don't think either of these players really are taking that Lich seriously, and that is a big mistake for both of them. Meanwhile, we can see SuperCumulo. I don't think he's confident enough to really spend his money, and understandably so. If these players saw all of these production buildings go into action at the same time, they would basically team him out of the game, or do their best to. SuperCumulo kind of dancing around the 60 food mark at this point. SuperCumulo kind of dancing around the 60 food mark at this point. I think that his play right now, at least what he's going for, is a total war of attrition. He recognizes that spending his money will get the target on his back. He's already got a target on his back, but conceivably there is end in sight. I don't think that they will team him for the rest of the game, that is to say. At some point, SuperCumulo will say, oh, I'm broke, and likely he'll be able to turn Qwest against Tleilaxu at that point. Tleilaxu talking about how vulnerable his base is, and he's actually very spot on. He took down all of the wood from both the top and bottom of his base, basically giving him a completely open-ended base. You could easily team him from the top or the bottom. It's so open. It's kind of a disaster the way he did it. Meanwhile, SuperCumulo's base, well, a little bit better. He's got this opening back here, but this wall of buildings here does make it a little bit difficult for two armies to effectively link up. Interestingly, this little clunk of trees here, I think, did give him a good strategic advantage in the last battle. Qwest wisely leaving his gargoyles behind at this point. I would like to see him at least have them in range, as they could be used to pick off an errant spellbreaker. Qwest, meanwhile, 110 experience shy of that level 6 Dreadlord, so he's likely not going to have that Dreadlord for a bit some time now. And we might be seeing SuperCumulo make another push for a base here. I think that he's got to recognize at some point that he can't afford to just be playing passive this entire time. And I hear a gyrocopter going down somewhere over here on the left-hand side. So finally we've got another 2-on-1 here. Focus Star coming down on a tank. Tank down to very low HP, but is going to be staffed away. Sleep coming down on the Naga Sea Witch.
A player's forces are under attack.
And looks like we're going to see maybe SuperCumulo making a push for Qwest's main base. Meanwhile, we have Tleilaxu looping all the way around at this point. I'm not sure who he's going for. If history is any indication, he's probably going to go for Qwest again. And nope, looks like they're going to go for SuperCumulo as a going for the six hero beatdown. And if they both nuke the same hero at once, I don't think any level of healing is going to save that Naga. But Naga is able to pop the invulnerability potion just in the nick of time, and healing does come down on the Naga now. So 75 food for Qwest. Qwest getting blocked by tanks here. Nice job by SuperCumulo. Down goes one of the tanks, so I think they recognized what was happening there. Able to turn it around and focus down with one of the tanks. We're getting some of the meat wagons now into the action. Wow, that was a nice forked lightning taking down 2 gargoyles. Gargoyles, of course, very low HP units, 410 HP total. So the level 3 forked lightning does make pretty quick work of them. And not sure what Tleilaxu's doing here. He's running way into this base. Focus Fire coming down on the Archmage now, with the Paladin being put to sleep. Tleilaxu also seems to be asleep at the switch, not helping out at all during this. Instead, deciding to take out the towers in SuperCumulo's base. And uh-oh, we have a very trapped Death Knight now. Sleep coming down on the Naga Sea Witch once again. Meanwhile, ooh, very nice Death and Decay coming down on all of the production buildings of SuperCumulo. SuperCumulo, again, he has to be very careful here. He doesn't have many production buildings. He's got a very small base. If he doesn't play his cards right, he is going to be in a lot of trouble. You know, losing with 15,000 gold would be one of the more embarrassing highlights of his career, for sure. And, yeah, he's saying AM level 6 GG. Not quite there yet, but getting very close. And wow, down is going to go that Naga Sea Witch one more time. Level 6 Dreadlord to boot. I don't think this is it for SuperCumulo, but it could be if they decided to push on him right now. He's got nothing left in his base. Meanwhile, though, we do see Zenidar is down to only 82 mana, so big problem here for Qwest too. He doesn't quite have the mana to keep pushing endlessly as he has been trying to do this this entire time. I feel bad for Qwester. He does often get stuck playing these very late games for him, so it is, and that's definitely a factor in this. So it's 5 o'clock here on the East Coast, so I believe it's +8 to Moscow, so 1 a.m. for him, and this game doesn't look like it's anywhere, the end is nowhere near in sight yet. Probably, if I had to guess, probably 1 more hour, bare minimum. Meanwhile, we do have the Paladin now running around doing some scout work here, and looks like he might be going for some sort of mass TP shenanigans at this point. I believe he's got mass TP. Not quite, actually. So kind of a silly move there by SuperCumulo, pulling his Paladin so far out just to take out one Acolyte. Things like that are the types of moves that often enrage players enough to just go completely tunnel vision on you. Looks like we're going to finally see the last of SuperCumulo's proxy buildings taken out as well. So 53 food for SuperCumulo. The size of this army just reeks of a kind of a gold manipulation type of situation by SuperCumulo. I'm kind of surprised to see him staying so low. And nice job using his Infernals here. I think that Qwest realizes his win condition should be taking out the base of SuperCumulo. I don't think that Tleilaxu has quite gotten to that level, though. Qwest leveraging something that I think a lot of players don't know about, which is that Infernals can attack trees as if the trees are units themselves and knock them down with a single punch, as we can see. So smart play there by Qwest, trying to reduce the lumber wall that's really been one-way street in terms of helping out SuperCumulo staying alive this entire time. Wow, we see the Sea Witch get staffed away. I'm surprised we're not seeing Qwest go in through the back here and try to take out the Sea Witch, but he's instead staying front side and just continuing to go after the same units as before. Focus Fire coming down on another Siege Engine, and it will go down. I believe both staffs are in cooldown at this point, and they are. So Qwest playing very aggressively here, going with another Death and Decay, this time on the Arcane Sanctums. And there's no way at this late stage in the game that you can rebuild your production buildings without completely broadcasting the fact that you are rich as a motherfucker.
A player's forces are under attack.
So Tleilaxu's still going on SuperCumulo at this point. Doesn't look like that is going to change anytime soon either. Focus Fire coming down on the Paladin one more time. Level 2 Divine Shield popped yet again, so 25 seconds now before I believe that Paladin is going to end up needing to be staffed. And I believe when the Paladin gets staffed, that's when we're going to see either SuperCumulo get eliminated from the game, or he's going to talk his way out of getting attacked. And we see here SuperCumulo saying, Qwest knows he wins by Masked Guards D. I will give it to SuperCumulo. He has not gone crazy and like spammed out multiple and here he goes. He's going to build an Arcane Vault in the back of his base. I will say that his lack of gyrocopters or towers is really shooting him in the foot here. We can see Shades are just making their way through his base, building anything at this point, building a shop. Just to me, as a player in this game, would say, I have a lot of money, and you should be teaming me. So I'm surprised to see him going for a shop of all buildings. Able to staff the Paladin back during a relative lull in the action. Smart move by him, really. I think this Paladin getting nuked will all but end the game for him. We just see him pumping out as many tanks as he possibly can get. Ponty is correct. He's saying SuperCumulo needs to hide a peasant, and I do agree with that in theory, but I don't think he's got any hope of getting a peasant out of his main base area at this point. SuperCumulo going up to 58 food now. Tleilaxu saying, "You're still hiding gold, SuperCumulo," and of course, Cumulo responding very honestly, very unlike your typical free-for-all player. He says, I do have gold. Doesn't say how much gold he has, but he does say he's got gold. And you notice Tleilaxu isn't asking.
A player's forces are under attack. I came from behind.
Follow this guard a little bit around the map. See exactly how much gold is left in this bottom left mine. Oh, I was off. I thought there was about 1,000 left. We're actually at 120, so really no value in going for that gold mine at this point. Tleilaxu at 60 supply, 834 gold. Qwest at 1,587 gold, 71 supply. Of course, the elephant in the room is SuperCumulo, who's sitting at 63 food, but 13,000 gold. Doesn't have... he's only got 4 production buildings, though, so it's not like he can exactly pump out a 100 food army in quick order, but... Oh, never mind. It looks like the attention is turned back to Qwest for some reason here. So Qwest about to feel a very quick 2-on-1 in his base. This could be very bad for Qwest. Focus Fire coming down on that Naga really quickly. Naga down to very low HP, and down does not go the Naga. Naga is able to save itself with a last-second invulnerability potion. Healing comes down on the Naga. Naga is going down goes the Naga. No, it doesn't. Naga's saved one more time by a last-minute healing. Wow, I thought there were at least 2 points in that fight that Sea Witch was going down. Both times she was maybe below 100 HP, and both times she was able to be saved by last-minute heals.
A player's forces are under attack.
Well, if anyone ever doubts the honesty of free-for-all players, they can use this as a prime example that nobody is stream sniping. Because at this point, SuperCumulo has had a commanding gold lead for about half an hour, if not longer, and neither of these two players seem at all aware of that situation. So that should be every indication that nobody is stream sniping in free-for-all, which is nice. It's nice to have honest players in a game.
Forces are under attack. Is under siege.
All right. So at this point, I think that the building of production buildings should be the final nail in SuperCumulo's coffin. Although we see, whoa, down goes the Naga Sea Witch one more time. That really exposed Altar, though. Oh my goodness, and now Focus Fire coming down on the Lich of Qwest, so I don't even know what's going on at this point. It's like, I don't think anybody knows what's going on. This is just complete madness. Tleilaxu is just indiscriminately going after players at this point, based on Lord knows what, and I really don't even know what this play should be indicative of. All right, so we're seeing a continued focus down on the breakers, and with the Paladin being forced to staff away, this could rapidly become out of hand for SuperCumulo. SuperCumulo, of course, he's losing all of his breakers now, so he really doesn't have any ability to fight this. He did retrain to Blizzard, of course. So at this point, the final nail in that coffin would be taking out the altar here.
Town is under siege.
Meanwhile, though, we see that Qwest is being forced to rebuild. Now, he did have a Altar of Storms in the back of his base, so the Lich will be able to come back instead of having to staff it back. I'm sorry, instead of having to tavern it back. Very strange, though, that SuperCumulo, I'm sorry, that Laxu is not taking out SuperCumulo's. He's not taking out the altar here. He's going after everything else. It's a very bizarre play to make. So Surround coming down on the Lich, and I believe this is going to be a forced TP on the Death Knight. Death Knight down very low on HP, and Death Knight was one frame away from dying, but does survive with almost no HP left. Maybe we'll call it 10 HP, but he got out of there just in the nick of time. So this is well, I still think that Laxu is the odds-on favorite to win this. It's looking, I'm sorry, that SuperCumulo is still the odds-on favorite to win this. How can you root against a guy who has 11,000 gold compared to 1,500? That said, though, just the constantly trying to hide his gold count has really worked against him at this point. SuperCumulo has not fooled anyone by not building an army. All he's done is guarantee that he's been behind in every single one of these fights. He could have easily had a couple of Dragonhawk Riders, or maybe some well, probably not casters. I think Dragonhawk Riders likely would have been the smartest move for him. They're relatively tough to nuke at 700 HP, and they would have given him some ability to handle the constant hit and run on his base. Meanwhile, though, we see Qwest's Acolyte down here in the bottom right and bottom middle for Laxu. They're going to be taken out by a fast walking. What is happening here? Yep. So I don't know. Looks like Mr. Cumulo is going shopping, and I think this might just be an effort to hide his gold count by not showing how much, by not shopping at his own shop. We do see the hidden acolytes of Laxu and Qwest being taken out, though. Level 6 Archmage is picked up, which is definitely a serious concern for both the undead players. At this point, I think that if you are either of the undead players, you have to start thinking about going even heavier on SuperCumulo. He doesn't have a lot, but having the 6 tanks does mean he could easily take out either of the undead bases with a quick town portal. Now, Laxu is a little bit more vulnerable to this, as he only has his Black Citadel. He does not have a secondary necropolis. So I'd like to see him put either a secondary necropolis at the south of his base or somewhere up here in the northwest of his base.
A player's forces are under attack.
So proxy building will not go down without a fight, it looks like, for Qwest. Qwest fighting for his life here and going after the Naga, and Naga almost goes down, but he doesn't quite get her. Forces the TP, but and will save his proxy building, but you know, the only way this is going to matter is if we see Laxu come in here, and Laxu is going to run in, it looks like, so this could be very bad for the Naga Sea Witch here. Naga Sea Witch going to find herself surrounded, and she's going to get healed, but sleep does come down on the Paladin there, and if one more sleep comes down, that's going to be it. Focus Fire coming down on the Sea Witch, and Sea Witch gets staffed away once again to safety. I think that should be enough to save her at this point. Close call for SuperCumulo, but he is able to get saved by the replacement of the Sea Witch to deeper into her base. Of course, Laxu likely could have prevented all of this by just taking out the Altar of Storms earlier in the game. Instead, he opted for Passivity, which has kind of been his calling card all game. Focus Fire coming down on the Paladin, as is the case in all of these fights so far. Wow, we see pretty aggressive here by SuperCumulo, but he's forced to staff his Paladin back, and now we've got... oh no! Down goes the Paladin to not one but two Infernos beating on him at the same time. Two Infernos, I'm surprised that we're seeing as much running as we are at this point. SuperCumulo announcing that he's lost the Paladin. I don't know who he's announcing that to, though. Both of the Infernos from both of the players were beating on him at the same time. I think that both players are aware of your dead Paladin, my friend. Meanwhile, we see still in his base, Qwest just kind of hanging back, 64 to 62 food, so he's a little bit food blocked at this point. That's versus 55 food for Laxu, and it's starting to look like it might be a one-on-one versus Laxu if this continues against SuperCumulo. Cumulo may, well, this is certainly wouldn't be a record for most gold that you died with, but in terms of biggest percentage advantage over your opponents, you know, four times your opponent's gold this late into the game, this would be one of the biggest and most surprising upsets I've ever seen, for sure. Well, able to get the Paladin back. I'm surprised neither player went for this altar, though. Bit of a surprise to me. Ace of the Archmage is level 6 at this point, so that's going to be difficult for both undead players to handle. All of the workshops are down, though, so even if SuperCumulo did want to start pumping out tanks, he wouldn't have the ability to. He could easily start picking up things like Griffin Riders and Arcane and Spellbreakers, though, should he need to, should he want to. He's getting very close to being food blocked, though, so even though he's got the huge amounts of gold, this gold is rapidly becoming marginalized. If he's going to rebuild anything, now is the time to do it. Very slow drop of the Infernal there by Qwest. We see it. It came down a couple seconds just too late, and that's going to make things a little bit difficult for Qwest to be able to handle nuking the Paladin. Paladin, of course, was able to get away without any problems. Wow, there we go. So we've got a staff come down on the Sea Witch. Down goes the Archmage, though. Big mistake by SuperCumulo there. He doesn't even have a cooldown going on his Staff of Sanctuary. He definitely had the ability to save it. I don't know what happened there. Just a big mistake by SuperCumulo. And SuperCumulo now playing the cannot revive card. This is very risky where he's going with this. He's claiming that he's got no gold left, and it may work. I think that Laxu really does want to believe that. I think that he really wants to believe that SuperCumulo is broke. I mean, if you assume that SuperCumulo has a lot of gold, you have to kill him. I think at this point. I think you would have to, but he's really representing now that he just has nothing left.
Players' forces are under attack.
So SuperCumulo is saying, I don't care, go on Qwest now. Interesting move by him. This is going to be impossible for Qwest to defend against in reality. So I think this is probably it for Qwest. And we can see here there's just no ability to focus down SuperCumulo. So unfortunately, he's able to pretty much get away with whatever he wants. Actually, hold your horses. We've got Focus Fire coming down on the Naga. Naga forced to staff away there. In comes all of those gargoyles that we had been hearing about, and this is looking very bad for Qwest. Qwest down to just his heroes at this point, and not sure where his Garg army is, but it is nowhere to be seen. And Qwest now being forced to TP, and where is he going to TP to? TP to the keep in the back of his base. Hero is very low on HP though, and his Dreadlord now out of mana, so ability to fight rapidly diminished. We are probably going to see him pick up a... Nope, not even going to pick up any staffs, it looks like. And where is he TPing to now? TP's back to his proxy base. Okay, that makes sense. So now he's going to be able to... now he's going to be able to start regenerating his mana in the middle. Meanwhile, we're going to see SuperCumulo pick up another invulnerability potion here in the top middle. No big surprise there. And I'm surprised he hasn't actually started rebuilding his Archmage at this point. Maybe he's thinking about going to Tavern it.
The town is under siege.
Meanwhile, Laxu continuing his push on Qwest's base. Looks like he's intent on trying to take Qwest out at this point. Qwest, meanwhile, has his little handy-dandy peasant there. The problem, though, is that the main base rebuild for Human is a bit more expensive. Oh boy, and Qwest almost catches SuperCumulo there, but misses him just by the hair of his chinny chin chin. SuperCumulo sitting at 10,000 gold. This has to be one of the highest gold counts that anyone's ever faked being broke at. And I believe that was one of Laxu's... Oh. Hello.
A player's forces are under attack.
I believe he's going to have to pick up the Stoneform Gargoyle in order to build there. This is some next level base hiding by Qwest here. So will he be able to drop this Ivory Tower? That's my question. And even if he does it matter?
A player's forces are under attack.
And, woo. Alright, he does manage to drop it, but there's still about 30 seconds left on the Staff of Teleportation, and this is looking really bad for Qwest. He's, if either of these players catch him down here without his Death Knight there, it's going to be very bad for him. Let's meet and end this as saying SuperCumulo. For those of you not up to date on your FML memes, of course, The tactical unpausulo is SuperCumulo's famous move of unpausing in the middle of a game in order to get a advantage over his opponents. Well, at this point, it is really anybody's game. It's interesting, though, because I have to think that... I mean, I still want to say that SuperCumulo is in the advantage position, but his main problem is this. He's now said that he doesn't have any gold to rebuild his Archmage. So, if at any point he does rebuild his Archmage, he gets teamed out. If he doesn't rebuild his Archmage until it becomes a one-on-one, well, he's not going to have time to rebuild his Archmage.
A player's forces are under attack.
I guess I see what the strategy is right now. So, I this is a very bizarre move here by Qwest, but looks like he's going for a just to save his one little tower here in the bottom corner.
A player's forces are under attack.
The problem, though, is that Tleilaxu could easily nuke that, even if he just did something like sell off a couple of his towers and build a single Frostworm, because these guard towers are so weak against that magic damage. Looks like we're seeing a full base unsummon here by by Qwest, so he's just kind of throwing in the towel at this point. He's also got his hidden farm up here, and I'm not sure if he's going to try to hide in there, and looks like he may be... this is such an interesting move here by Qwest. This is not a game that players, or not a map that players would think that you could hide on. So we see, okay, here we go. We've got Mass Breakers being pumped out at this point, and the Archmage being rebuilt. So no surprise there. Looks like SuperCumulo will get the win after all. And I'm guessing this is going to go build another production building back in his base. Tleilaxu did a great job of scouting this entire time. But unfortunately for him, he is, yeah, just a kind of funny end to the game. Tleilaxu just not scouting at all at this point. Nope, he is scouting. He's going to come take out the Altar of Kings. Oh my gosh, this could be a game changer here. No altar. He's going to be able to rebuy his hero at the tavern in the middle. And of course, seeing everything being pumped at this point, I'm sure is going to give away the fact that he's built. Pumping from all plus... Yep. He's got to drop a really good Death and Decay right now if he wants any chance of winning. Wow. what a crazy turnaround at this point. For a second there, it looked like it was going to be almost a free win for SuperCumulo. Now it's looking like that win is in doubt altogether. SuperCumulo pumping from pretty much every building he can. I think he's just trying to get any army that he can get going. This is kind of a crazy turnaround for pretty much everybody here. Oh my gosh, Qwest is just really enjoying hiding in the corner right now. He not alter, says Gribby, which is kind of like the cheap knockoff of Grubby. So we've got basically 68 food army out of 78 possible. I don't think. Oh my goodness! And we see looks like Tleilaxu is just going to go for a finish on Qwest at this point. Second scout tower does come down. What a silly end to the game. Not technically an island. So at this point, Tleilaxu has a choice. He can either this is just such an absurd end to a game. Tleilaxu recognizes that Cumulo has been lying about his gold the entire time. In fact, he can see that he's been lying about the gold this entire time. But instead, he's opting to focus on Qwest's hidden base here in the corner of just two towers that can easily be taken out. This is embarrassing to watch, really. Well, SuperCumulo down to 5.5k gold. I didn't think they would get him this low, but looks like this is pretty much it for these players. Not unreachable by any stretch of the imagination, but alright. So, looks like this is how the game is going to end. I'm expecting we're going to see Tleilaxu probably... Tleilaxu's probably going to just rage quit when he sees a 100 food army at this point. And I can't imagine Qwest's trying to stick this out. Even if he does, though, even with the gargoyles, it should be a pretty easy nuking of just two towers with the griffins. So 88 food now for SuperCumulo. Looks like we're just a couple of moments away. Tleilaxu finally realizing what the rest of us have known this entire time, that that SuperCumulo will be in the final. So congratulations to SuperCumulo. He actually played this in a very bizarre but effective way. Tank Breaker Griff now, yep. So I think finally they're recognizing the inevitable, which is even combined at this point, they have just no chance against this army. Focus Fire coming down on the Paladin. Oh my god, the Archmage goes down once again. Oh, wow. That was a fail if I've ever seen one. Strangely, we see running from Spellbreakers, despite the fact that he does have Infernal. Unbelievable. Just absolutely unbelievable how this game has ended up playing out. Tleilaxu just absolutely obsessed with Qwest up until the very last second, worried about two hidden towers. Meanwhile, of course, giving SuperCumulo the time to build production buildings, an altar, and farms, because he was food blocked at a 72 population. So we're seeing a little bit of rage here by Laxu at this point. I guess he does not appreciate the fact that we saw such a prolonged hidden gold route, so to speak, by SuperCumulo. Finally brings in his Griffin Riders, but Griffin Riders actually... and we have a lot of focus fire coming down on the Dreadlord at this point. Town Portal scroll is popped, Invulnerability popped, and it's not very long now before this Archmage is back at it. Let's take a look at the items. We've got Invulnerability potions on all three heroes, but these three heroes are running to a fight that they cannot fight on their own. Archmage is going to be out of it for just a little bit longer, but he's going to need all of Laxu's army there. Wait, need TP. He says he's going to sell some items, I am sure. Never noticed this, by the way, but he did pick up a Khadgar's Pipe of Insight, giving him the ability to spam spells a little bit longer than everybody else. Oh, no! Big mistake here. He's going to get caught by the Naga. Maybe not quite, though. Able to sleeper and get away from the slowing effect. Laxu, or Qwest calling for help at this point. Laxu is incoming, but Qwest is going to need to go to the fountain in the middle. Oh boy, and we see we're going to see, I think, once again some 2-on-1ing in SuperCumulo's base, but this time it'll be very different. Of course, SuperCumulo now has a full army to defend with, and is getting close to level 5 Paladin, and that 600 HP heal every 6 or 7 seconds is going to make all the difference in the world, I believe, in this final fight, which looks like it's rapidly approaching. So here we go. We've got Infernal going into the base, likely to target the staffed tank here. Qwest is exposing himself a lot more than Laxu. Laxu asking Qwest to bring his army. We know that Qwest has only a couple of gargoyles at this point, so there's really not even that much of an army to ask for. The tanks here, of course, are in an excellent positioning. The main problem, though, is that this Paladin is about to run out of his Divine Shield, so Paladin could be nuked any second now, and I believe that's going to be the route that we see these players go. So Paladin now out of Divine Shield. Focus Fire should be coming down on the Paladin. Here we go. So Coil Nova comes down on Paladin. Coil Nova round 2. Nope, not quite. No staff for the Sea Witch either. They're not focusing the right player here. What are they doing? And there you go. The 60 seconds are up. We have another 30 seconds of Divine Shield now. Down goes a tank, though. So 6 food lost now for SuperCumulo, but he's still in very good shape. SuperCumulo fighting a battle I don't believe he even really needs to fight. He could easily Town Portal to kill either of these players. His base, of course, very strong. He does only have level 2 Masonry, though. Oh no, what are you doing, SuperCumulo? Oh man, what is he doing? SuperCumulo, you won't win versus his island. Oh my goodness. SuperCumulo doing his best at this point, but we said it before. I didn't think it would happen like as extremely as it is right now, but the second that SuperCumulo starts to build, he's going to be teamed for the rest of the game. Now, interestingly, this is shaping up to be the case. I didn't think he was going to be able to build quite as much as he did, though, but I think, you know, the biggest story here is this Naga Sea Witch has been completely worthless this game. I think the only thing this Naga Sea Witch has done is contribute to the fact that Cumulo was able to hoard as much gold as he ended up with earlier on in the game. But the Naga Sea Witch, if that was even a level 5 Mountain King, the game would be completely different. Of course, it was, oh my goodness, level 24 HP. Paladin is just what the doctor ordered. That Paladin, though, he is not going to make it, that's for sure. If there's only 2 ways this goes down. Either the Paladin gets staffed and dies after being staffed, or the Paladin is just going to die. And he could actually run over to the Arcane Vault, pick up a a health potion, but I don't think that's going to be the route either. Wow, alright, so Paladin is now out of... and down goes the Paladin, picked up, killed by Qwest, so Qwest does get some much-needed experience there from that. Focus Fire coming down on the Lich. Lich down to, well, not that low at all, actually, so I'm surprised we're not seeing any effort here to take out the Altar of Kings. Nope, I take it all back. There's the Inferno is coming out just for that. Down goes the Archmage. Is this going to be it for SuperCumulo? Is he going to lose this game? I wouldn't have believed it if I hadn't seen it with my own eyes, but this is unbelievable. Down to 4,000 gold. Loses his Archmage, loses his Paladin. Doesn't look like he's rebuilding either. So Qwest running back to his base. SuperCumulo is saying that he's going to suicide at this point. I'm not inclined to believe that. We see SuperCumulo. Oh, very smart here. If SuperCumulo decides to put his Griffins within striking distance of these guard towers, they could easily take out all of the guard towers, or not all of the only 2 remaining buildings in just 2 volleys of their attack. So this is getting very bad for Qwest. I think Qwest, his gambit to go for the hidden base. This may have worked if these were cannon towers with fortified armor, but unfortunately they're not. They're just basic towers with heavy armor, and this heavy armor, where is it? It's weak against magic. Takes 150% damage from it, so you consider each Griffin Rider does about, well, we'll say 50 to 90, so we'll say 70 per hit. So each Griffin Rider does 100 per hit, basically. And he's got enough Griffins to kill each tower in 1 volley. Qwest rushing in to take out the Altar. I believe he will get it, even if he isn't there to heal his Infernal. Maybe not, though. We're going to come down to the wire. 1 more hit. Doesn't get it. Down to 19 HP. Well, it's always the last hit that matters the most. He could conceivably go for it, and he may very well go for it. Does he have an Infernal back from cooldown? Looks like he does not. If he did, I'm sure he would go for it. If he can get that Altar, I think that is pretty much the game there, winning or losing for Tleilaxu. Again, I don't think Qwest really has any hope of winning this game. Tleilaxu does, though. Although it does become very interesting if this comes down to Tleilaxu versus Qwest, because I keep saying that the hidden tower technique that he's going for, and by the way, he could easily Death and Decay this, or do that. That works too. Oh man, this has got to be disappointing for SuperCumulo, who plays it very jokingly, but I know that he really wanted to win this game, and it's looking increasingly like that will not be the case. Can he rebuild? Of course he can rebuild. He's already got another peasant, and he can start throwing up an Altar all the way in the back of his base, right around where I said it should have been in the first place.
player's forces are under attack.
Well, we've got the altar rebuilt once again in the back of the base. Not enough food to build both heroes, though, which is kind of problemsome. Well, maybe not. Down goes another tank, so with 5 tanks remaining, that will free up enough food for the for both heroes. Pretty poor death and decay there. Takes out a bunch of production buildings for someone who's already at 100 food. Of course, you can't see the food count. Well, at this point of your quest, you absolutely 100% need to get SuperCumulo out of this game. The Griffin Riders alone can easily take out your, well, what they keep calling an island. Of course, it's not really an island, but we'll call it an island since that's what they want to call it. The Griffin Riders can easily kill your island, such as it is, with very little effort. That being said, Tleilaxu still has options himself.
A player's forces are under attack.
And a bit of a surprise here, he's not going to take out the castle or the altar. Meanwhile, we've got Qwest just, I guess, on a quest. He's just running around doing a whole lot of nothing. He needs to get back in there. If both of these heroes get rebuilt, I think that it swings back to SuperCumulo, which is unbelievable. This the turns of events in this game are impossible to keep up with. Oh boy. And we've got Qwest doing some sneaky moves of his own. He's going to come in for a attack on the hidden air army in the back of SuperCumulo's base now. Could end up working. I don't know if it's absolutely worth it, though. I'd rather see him go for, say, the Archmage in the altar, or the even just the castle here. Looks like he's finally got Tleilaxu back, though. This is their last best effort, or best chance to take this out, in my opinion. Down comes a Infernal. Looks like he's going to be sent to the back to take out the altar. Nope, maybe not. Just drawing everybody's attention away. Strangely, they're playing this as if there is a Mountain King out. They're like very worried about getting stunned or getting surrounded. Of course, that's not a threat up against the Naga. You can get slowed for a couple of seconds, but that's about it. And you can always just sleep the Naga. There's no ultimate to give her 60 seconds of magic immunity. It's of course the Avatar ability that completely eats undeads alive when you're playing as when you've got a Mountain King.
A player's forces are under attack.
Holy cannoli! Yep, we've got some griffins being chased here, not very effectively though. I'm sure Soups is feeling the walls closing in on him though. Kind of a last-ditch effort here by SuperCumulo to attempt to manipulate against Tleilaxu and Qwest. Tleilaxu and Qwest very impressively. I like what he's saying here. There's many different ways to counter manipulate, and what he just said there is probably the best way of putting it. What did I kill? Huh? 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 Nothing. Qwest, meanwhile, he's sending his gargoyles back to the bottom right, and yeah, I understand why he's doing it. I think that he's afraid of getting sniped in his corner spots here. Now we see SuperCumulo is revealed at this point as well. He does have the one peasant all the way in the back of his base, so he does technically have the ability to build. Alright, and something that I'm surprised we haven't seen more of in all reality is more of this death and decay harass. I would have oh gosh, and we've got a surround coming down on Qwest. This could be it for Qwest. Oh wow, very cool. He's popping his town portal staff there, and of course no ability to interrupt it. Oh man. Jeez Louise, that could have been a disaster for Qwest. Very quick thinking for him, though.
A player's forces are under attack.
Interestingly, this is very difficult to see. You have to actually turn the map to be able to see the griffins that are up here. We got 7 hidden griffin riders there for SuperCumulo. And this is the time in the game where not having that level 3 masonry really is biting him in the butt. Not being able to... yeah, that peasant should be in the view of Tleilaxu. He should realize that he wants to take that out as soon as he can. Qwest, meanwhile, sending his Infernal in just to do some work on the buildings. Infernal should be able to maybe pick off this farm up here if that's the route he decides to go. I don't think because the Infernal has such a large collision size, I don't think he'll be able to get into the peasant back here, though. Just a continued effort by the players to take out Gavinrad the Dire here. Gavinrad down to half HP. And if he is staffed away, he's just gonna. Looks like the barracks right now is acting as the beacon. So that'll be a very easy interrupt on using the destroyers that both players still have available. Meanwhile, we see it looks like it's about time they're gonna start using these Griffin Riders here. Griffin Riders would definitely give the damage output. I think that SuperCumulo may have actually sent his Griffin Riders to try to attack the Destroyer here, which is, of course, not going to work. Destroyers are magic immune and will not be able to be attacked by the Griffin Riders' magic damage.
A player's forces are under attack. Player's forces are under attack. player's forces are under attack. Town is under siege.
Qwest asking for a rego. I think that he's not effectively scouting at this point and isn't realizing that there's already a battle underway. Tleilaxu, of course, just trying to keep his stuff alive and not able to spend too much time chatting at this point. Alright, so here we go. We've got all the undead heroes coming in together at this point. They'll have an opportunity to have a go at it one more time. We see that the Paladin is about to run out of Divine Shield. 5 seconds remain, just about over with. He's going to be nuke bait right from the start, I would think. Focus Fire coming down on the Paladin, not at all. Nobody seems interested in him. Okay, there we go. Down comes the coil, 2 coils away, and down goes the Paladin. I believe that should be it for SuperCumulo. He does, of course, have his Alder of Kings in the back. And the players haven't shown much willingness to eliminate the altar. Oh, I stand corrected. We've got a very nicely placed Death and Decay here. And I believe that will be it for SuperCumulo. He's now very food blocked, and doesn't look like he's going to have an opportunity to even spend the remaining money he's got. SuperCumulo 2,700 gold, but he's going to die with it. And this is not ancient Egypt. You don't get to spend that gold in the afterlife. There is no afterlife. Wow! Very nice orb walking there by SuperCumulo, able to get the Death Knight down to very low HP. And at this point, it's funny. I don't know what SuperCumulo even wants to do. It looks like he's going to just suicide into Tleilaxu's base, and of course, this plays right into the hands of Qwest, because Tleilaxu will be forced to use his. Okay, looks like Qwest is not going to go after Tleilaxu there. I thought there was a chance that we might see Tleilaxu lose his Death Knight, but doesn't look like that's going to be the case. Now here's the problem, is that there's still a problem with all of these Griffin Riders, and those Griffin Riders can still kill SuperCumulo's Qwest's remaining towers just as easily now as they could 20 minutes ago. So for those of you just joining us, SuperCumulo's main base is all but dead here in the top right. Qwest's base is dead here in the top right as well. He rebuilt his mini base down here, 2 towers in the bottom right, and it is only accessible by these Griffin Riders. And these Griffin Riders, I'm telling you, they will kill those towers faster than Qwest will be able to respond. So at this point, it's a very strange turn of events. Looks like we've got Qwest attempting to eliminate SuperCumulo, SuperCumulo attempting to eliminate Tleilaxu. Tleilaxu doesn't look like he even wants to be doing anything right now. He's just standing here doing nothing. And with that, we've only got 1 building remaining for Tleilaxu. It's this necropolis down here. Does he have any other buildings anywhere around the map? Doesn't look like it. No, he's got this 1 acolyte here, but the acolyte doesn't have anywhere he can build. He's going to have to run back. Oh no! Oh gosh, this is a disaster for Tleilaxu. Tleilaxu is going to be found here. There it goes. Night comes just a few seconds too late. And there you have it. GG, Tleilaxu is eliminated. Qumulo is eliminated, both at the same time. Good game. And your winner is Qwest in 2nd place with his hidden base. Unbelievable finish to an unbelievable game. Let's take a look at the score and the standings and see how things shook out. Tleilaxu comes in 1st place in points, but of course in the playoffs this does not matter one bit. He's going to come away with 285,000 points. So top unit score and top hero score comes way behind in terms of resource count, though. No big surprise there either. Let's take a look at the units score, and wow, Tleilaxu with 200 units killed, 220 units produced. Pretty even count in the buildings raised department. I think most of Those for SuperCumulo came more towards at the end of the game, though, and most of Qwest's, I believe, came against NoMercy here. I'm sorry, he died so early in the game, forgot what his name even was. Total hero score, wow, Laxu just really ran away with it in the end. 988 to 776, and of course 764 for SuperCumulo. SuperCumulo, the Naga, ironically, ended up, I think, getting the attention off of him, but really didn't have the ability to contribute in the late game the same way the Mountain King does. I wonder if SuperCumulo has any regrets about going at that as his secondary hero. And resource score, so we have 40, we'll say 45 plus 13, so 58,000 gold for SuperCumulo, 38 plus 9, so 47,000 gold for Laxu, and about 46,000 gold for Qwest. So SuperCumulo, of course, he comes away with a lot more gold than everybody else, but he also was a lot more efficient than everybody else. So he had a 15k advantage at one point, and only mined 10k more than everybody. So it's not just that he mined more gold, but he was very much more efficient in the game. Where he fell short, though, is he never really committed to building an army. I think he was so afraid of being teamed that he decided that he would just defer being teamed. And unfortunately for him, he deferred for so long, he didn't really get to efficiently spend his gold. If he had spent the gold earlier on in the game, he still would have been teamed relentlessly. He still probably would have lost his base, but he would have probably ended up with higher level heroes, because ultimately the middle part of the game was just SuperCumulo fighting 50 food versus 280 food armies, and that's no way to fight at all.